Now that we know what an experiment is, and we've learned some basic terminology of causes and effects, mediators and moderators, let's think a little bit and ask the question, what are the different kinds of experimental designs available to us? And in order to do that, let's start off with the laundry experiment that we talked about last week. This was the experiment where we showed that when people pay for their laundry by using a prepaid card as opposed to quarters, cash, they are more likely to separate their white clothes from their colored clothes. This was the design of the experiment. What we did in that experiment was we observed people doing laundry over a 40-day window such that in the first half of the window, the machines accepted quarters. They were then retooled, and in the second half of the window, they started accepting prepaid cards. This is what we call a before and after design. Something has happened in the environment, in this case, the management of the laundromat, that has changed the way in which people do their laundry, or in an experimental sense, the focal task. Natural experiments happen all the time, and as long as you are around and sensitive to the fact that there is going to be some change in context, you can convert that change into a potential experiment. Now, does an experiment like this conclusively prove that if we move away from coins to cards, that people will change their laundry behavior, and that the change in laundry behavior is attributable only to the change in payment mechanism? Keep in mind here, the cause is the movement away from coins to a prepaid card. The effect is the separation of laundry into the whites and the coloreds. Let's imagine a hypothetical situation where for some reason people in the middle of this window have suddenly started reading more of their Good Housekeeping journals. That might explain this data. That might explain the fact that people are now separating more because they are now more aware of the need to separate. So in order to rule out that possibility, we need to include a second set of conditions, something that we would call the control condition. A control condition would look like the bottom part of this panel. In a control condition, you would have the same 40-day window, pretty much the same location, and the same kinds of people doing their laundry. But in the control, rather than switching from coins to a prepaid card, you would continue using coins throughout the entire 40-day window. And what you ideally want to show is that the changes that we saw in the top panel are not attributable to simply the passage of time. So that is a simple before and after experiment with a control. Now let's go back and think of another phenomena that we looked at in the first couple of weeks, the pennies a day pricing phenomena. John Gorville showed in his research that if you in fact take an aggregate price, $365 a year, and convert that into a $1 a day price, people are much more generous with their money. One simple design that he used to test this idea was a simple two-condition design. People were asked to make a donation. Half the people who were randomly assigned to the aggregate condition were asked to make a donation of $365 a day. The second part of the population, which was randomly assigned to the pennies a day condition, were asked to make a donation of $1 a day, which equals $365 a year. And all that John Gorville did was he compared the mean willingness to donate in the aggregate condition with the pennies a day condition. That's what we would call a simple two-condition design. In this case, the cause is the fact that you move away from an aggregate framing to a pennies a day framing. The effect is your willingness to donate. This experiment used only one factor, which was the way in which the pricing information was framed. Now let's push that argument a little bit further. Remember we said that pennies a day works wonderfully well if you are talking about $1 a day or $2 a day. But the moment you get into $20 a day or $25 a day, that argument falls apart because people are now not able to compare 25 with other items that they spend $25 a day on. And so the strategy might backfire. How would you test that? Well, here's what you would do. What you would do is something called a fully crossed design. What you see along the rows are two conditions in which we compare the pennies a day strategy with the aggregate strategy. First, we look at a low amount condition. Second, we look at a high amount condition. In this case, this experiment uses two factors, and each of the factors has two levels. low amount and high amount, aggregate versus pennies a day, resulting in a total of 4 experimental conditions. What you want to show is that pennies a day outperforms the aggregate framing when the amount is low, but in fact when the amount is high, you would get the opposite result. Finally, let's spend a minute talking about something called within participant designs versus between participant designs. When we looked at the example of the laundromat, we essentially tracked people over a 40-day window, but it was the same group of people that lived in that apartment building, that kept visiting the laundromat. Essentially, the same group of people were exposed to 2 treatments, the cash condition and the prepaid card condition. That is what we call a within participants design. In contrast, when people were in Gorville's experiment on pennies a day, they either saw an aggregate request, $365 a year, or they saw a $1 per day request. In other words, there were 2 different groups of people that each saw one particular kind of treatment in that experiment. That is called a between participants experiment. Obviously, both between and within participant experiments have their own merits, and as we go through, we'll talk a little bit about conditions under which you want to use one versus the other. So in a nutshell, we looked at different kinds of designs. We looked at before-after, we looked at before-after designs with the control, we looked at 2 condition experiments, and then we looked at what we call fully crossed experimental designs.